10 for homicide, please. West Sergeant, homicide is notified. They are responding 1615.
Hi everyone, my name is Gene Rubino. I'm an Executive Assistant Prosecutor with the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office. On behalf of the Acting Prosecutor, Guy Gregory, I want to welcome everybody to the debut show of Hudson County Cold Case. We're really excited about this show. What we're going to do on the show is going to feature some homicide cases and special victims cases that we're asking for the public's help in trying to come up with some information on these cases, maybe try to help solve these cases. So we're going to give you an inside look on what some of the detectives are doing when they're investigating these cases, and then asking you, the public, to try to help us out in bringing these cases to the next step and perhaps even solving them. With me today, I have my guest, Captain Kieth Stith. He's the commander of the homicide unit. Captain, welcome.
Good to be here.
I want to talk to our audience a little bit about what homicide does and the type of cases they investigate from the minute that we get the call to the minute the detectives go out. So let's talk about a little bit about the homicide unit. How many detectives do you have in the homicide unit?
We have about 15 detectives assigned to the homicide unit.
And are all those detectives Hudson County Prosecutors detectives, or are they from other agencies?
No, in Hudson County we use a task force concept. In addition to homicide detectives from Hudson County, we also have municipal police officers assigned to the homicide unit. And
what's the thought behind having a task force concept? What's the benefit to that?
The benefit of the task force concept is if we need resources in a specific municipality, and for example, I use Jersey City for example. If there's something that we need in Jersey City, we have Jersey City police officers assigned to the homicide unit. So it may be a little bit easier for them to get us connected to that resource to help the homicide.
So that detective or that officer, may have some insight knowledge in terms of that particular area as a result of being a municipal police officer or detective in that town.
That's correct.
All right, and that benefits us.
It's a huge help, huge help.
So tell us how it works. In terms of once an investigation comes in, how are we alerted and what happens after that?
Usually the municipality will call us, or the sheriff's department will call the on-call sergeant for that particular weekend. And what we do right away, we send the homicide guys out to that scene.
And the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office now, I don't know if the audience realizes it, some of them may realize it, that the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office is responsible for investigating all homicides in Hudson County. Is that correct?
That's correct. We are responsible for investigating all homicide, suspicious death, and all police-involved shootings in Hudson County.
So what you're saying is, in any of those type of investigations, there will be the Hudson County prosecutors, detectives will be out there and investigating, boots on the ground.
Absolutely.
So what happens? Tell us. Once the call comes in, will you dispatch a team? How does that work?
Yes, a team is dispatched. Again, there's a sergeant, 3 detectives. One of the 3 detectives in that unit, he's a crime scene person. Once they arrive, they're responsible for collecting and preserving evidence at the scene.
And is it like what we see on TV as far as the crime scene people? Is it real life like that? Is it similar to it? Is there any reality to what we see on TV all the time?
Yes, it is a reality out there, collecting evidence, preserving evidence. The detectives are responsible for interviewing witnesses that may be on the scene.
But it all doesn't get wrapped up in 45 minutes.
No,
okay.
Absolutely not.
And that's exactly why we're here, because sometimes it's not really what you see on TV.
That's correct.
And we need the public's help in trying to get to that next step and trying to either solve the case, identify maybe witnesses, identify maybe suspects or eyewitnesses or people that have some information, no matter how small, how big, to give us a call and maybe help us out in trying to move that case along to the next step?
The most important thing when it comes down to solving homicides, we really need the help of the citizens.
Absolutely. And Keith, does somebody have to give their name when they call?
Absolutely not. We are more concerned about information. Obviously, if the person witnessed the homicide, that's a different story. But if they're giving us information that may lead us to speak to another person or get us close to the person that actually committed the crime, no, we don't need their names.
So what if somebody's sitting out there and they think, oh, you know, I know a little bit about this, but maybe it's not really important. What should they do? Should they call? Should they not call?
Absolutely, they should call. All call does remain anonymous. The number at the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office is 201-915-1345.
Okay, all right. So tell us about a little bit about the types of investigations. So you mentioned you'll handle any type of homicide. There'll be shootings, stabbings.
Correct.
You'll also handle any police-involved shootings?
Yes.
Any discharge of firearms?
Yes.
All right. And what other types of cases? Suspicious deaths?
Suspicious deaths, suicides. They need to be investigated as well. So we do handle suicides.
So we're alerted by the police departments in all those instances?
That's correct. Once we are alerted by the police department, obviously we do call the medical examiner. They come out as well to help us make a determination.
Great. We're going to take a short break and we're going to be right back.
Jersey City Medical Center, Hudson County's #1 hospital, as ranked by U.S. News and World Report. Hudson County's only hospital to receive an A safety score rating. Jersey City Medical Center is Hudson County's only hospital to receive the prestigious Magnet Award for Nursing Excellence. Make the #1 hospital in Hudson County your first choice for quality health care. Jersey City Medical Center. Visit us on the web at libertyhealth.org. Jersey City Medical Center consistently receives the highest hospital ranking and ratings in New Jersey. #1 overall hospital in the state. #1 for high-risk pregnancy. #1 for neurological disorders. #1 for stroke. Magnet Award for Nursing Excellence. A for hospital safety. What makes the Jersey City Medical Center the #1 hospital in the state? Top-rated, award-winning medical professionals. You can see today at the Jersey City Medical Center. Make the #1 hospital your first choice. The Jersey City Medical Center.
Welcome back, everyone. Again, I'm Gene Rubino with the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office, and my guest today is Captain Kieth Stith. He's commander of the Homicide Unit with the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office. Captain Stith, we were talking about a little bit about the Homicide Unit.
Yes.
And some of the things that the detectives respond to and so forth. I would imagine that's a tremendous amount of responsibility being the commander of the Homicide Unit.
It's a lot of responsibility.
It's a lot of responsibility, not only in terms of just managing the lieutenant and the sergeants and all the detectives, but you're tasked with being responsible for the investigations.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about a little bit about clearance rates or solve rates to some of the homicides, Captain Stith. What kind of clearance rate do we generally see in Hudson County?
Our clearance rate is between 70 and 80%.
And that seems like a pretty significant number, compared to the state overall.
Absolutely. Compared to other urban counties, that's a very good number.
And when you and I have talked about this, it's not the, while the detectives in the Homicide Unit, they work very hard, and so do the prosecutors. Absolutely. In terms of the 80%. But what keeps us up at night?
The 20%, the ones that, the that we did not solve.
And why is that?
Again, because families out there want closure, so that 20% is very important.
In terms of you know, the families, it's important to understand that the 20%, you know, whether it's 80 or 75 and 25 or 80 and 20 notwithstanding, that every homicide is not forgotten about, no matter how old or how new it is. Those while we enjoy that 80% or 75%, it's the other half that we're always thinking about, because those are the ones we want to bring complete closure to all the families, because they deserve an answer, or they deserve justice in terms of if somebody needs to be brought to justice or accountable for a crime they've committed.
That's correct. As far as I'm concerned, there are no cold cases because we constantly work these investigations.
And in terms of the public's help and calling in, you know, if you're out there and you have a piece of information, is any information too small, Keith?
Absolutely not. Every bit counts. Again, if you have any information about a homicide, all calls are anonymous. You can call the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office Homicide Unit at 201-915-1345. And
we'll put that up on the screen. We also have an email address as well, which is also anonymous, and we'll put that up on the screen as well. Captain Stith, let's talk about some of the tools of the trade that the homicide investigators use these days. What kind of tools are out there?
Well, as I mentioned, we do have, each squad have a guy that's a crime scene person. That person...
or girl.
Or girl, yes, correct, or girl. They all went through the state police crime scene investigators course, which is probably the best around. So they are trained on how to lift prints, how to collect DNA. Okay. And we do have equipment that assists us in doing that.
And with DNA, now DNA, you know, not too long ago we would say it's a relatively new technology.
That's correct.
It is becoming a day in and day out type of technology used by law enforcement.
Well, in most homicides, there is some DNA involved. Maybe the suspect, for example, he got rid of his hoodie. And from that hoodie, we could send it out to OCME in New York, and they could get his DNA from that hoodie.
And we also send some of our DNA also to the state police for examination.
Absolutely. We also use the New Jersey State Police as well.
Now, we also use other tools that are available and with technology and through, you know, through our other partners in terms of ballistics.
Correct.
Without getting into the details, but we were able to have ballistic matches in a relatively short period of time.
Absolutely. Sometimes projectile or casings are recovered at the scene, and we do send them out for comparison.
So comparison. Sometimes now with some of our other law enforcement partners that we're using, the turnaround time is, I mean, where it used to be, it would take, you know, maybe a week or so. What kind of turnaround time are we getting?
We probably could have it back in within 48 hours.
And how vital is that, particularly in a homicide case, to get that back quickly?
It's crucial. We need to know, and especially instances where we have multiple shootings, or there may be a double homicide, and that particular gun may be used in 2 homicides.
And little birdie tells me that we're also getting some more equipment that's going to be available to our crime scene person. Have you heard anything about that?
Absolutely. We are getting a brand new crime scene truck, which is state of the art. The guys will be able to, when I say the guys, the crime scene personnel will be able to work from the truck. Instead of bringing everything back down to a homicide unit, they could process everything right there on the truck.
So they'll be able to process it right there at the scene. I take it that this vehicle or the crime scene vehicle will actually be responding to the scene?
Absolutely, and that is huge. Not only will they be able to collect and process evidence, but do reports on scenes and do most of the work that they do a homicide. They can actually do it on the truck, which is helpful.
They can do it right then and there.
Right then and there.
And that's a benefit to the public and to the community, correct?
Absolutely, because with the turnaround is much faster. We could be able to review video on scene, which is crucial. So that's a benefit to the public.
And we've never had that before. This is really the first time that we've had this type of equipment.
Long time coming.
Long time coming. It's well deserved.
Well
deserved,
absolutely.
I think it's going to benefit the people of Hudson County that we serve in terms of being able to maybe solve crimes or to use this technology to advance the investigation.
Absolutely, it's huge.
All right. We're going to take a little break, and we'll be right back.
We have to be able to police ourselves because we don't want anybody to tarnish our badge.
When internal affairs complaints are not handled properly, the public may believe that most officers commit crimes, when in fact that's not true. Most officers are professional.
If complaints aren't taken properly and the community that we serve doesn't have a trust in the police department, I mean, there has to be legitimacy. If the community doesn't trust the police, how could we effectively serve them? And by having a really comprehensive internal affairs unit that handles the complaints properly and people have trust in the system, it enables us to do our entire job as a police department much better.
We need the community as much as they need us. So that citizen that has lost trust in the community could be a very important witness for us tomorrow.
Seeing the ER doctor at the Jersey City Medical Center has never been easier. If you're sick, you just click. Go to libertyhealth.org, and here's how it works. Click Skip the Wait. Select your time and check in now. Enter your symptoms, your personal information. Click Proceed to Confirmation, and the doctor's waiting for you. The Jersey City Medical Center. Make Hudson County's #1 hospital your first choice.
Welcome back to Cold Case, everyone. I'm Gene Rubino with the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office. April 26, 2014, a young man, 25 years old, Darren Talenton, was killed outside a deli on Grove Street in Jersey City. Captain Kieth Stith from the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office Homicide Unit and myself went back to that scene, took a look at it. We want to show it to you. Also want to show you some surveillance video from inside that deli. We're asking for the public's help in helping us out with this particular case. All right, we're on location on Grove Street in Jersey City near Columbus Drive. Back in April of this year, April 26, 2014, there was a homicide here. A young man, 25 years old, Darren Talenton, lost his life. Captain, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we do know at 3 o'clock in the morning, Darren Talenton was inside the store purchasing a sandwich. At about 3:05 on video, we see a small silver SVU parked on the corner of Wayne and Grove. We did see an occupant exit the vehicle and walk inside the store.
Darren was in the store, and do we think this began in the store?
Yes. What we saw on video, the occupant that exited the vehicle had a beer bottle above his head. On video, it looked like he spilled some beer on a young lady that was inside the store. So Mr. Talenton came on her behalf to defend her.
So he was trying to come to her aid in terms of just preventing this individual from, what was he doing?
Well, actually, before he came to her aid, actually the guy that exited the vehicle, the occupant, he actually pushed the young lady.
He pushed the young lady?
Yes.
And Mr. Talenton tried to intervene?
Yes, he did.
He was trying to do the right thing?
Absolutely.
Okay. And then what happens? It spills out outside? What happens?
They had some words after Mr. Talenton and the occupant. They had some words. They walked outside the store and they began to fight.
Now, in this case, we know there were a number of witnesses inside.
That's correct.
In your estimate, how many witnesses?
It was probably about maybe 6 witnesses inside the store.
Are we still looking for witnesses to speak to?
Yes, we are.
And we have come across some of them, correct?
Yes, we have.
All right, but we're still looking for others.
Absolutely.
Are there some key witnesses that you think may be able to provide some information for the case?
Absolutely.
Captain Stith, tell us what we're looking at here.
This is the video that the homicide unit recovered from the deli where Darren Talenton was shot at. In the video, you would see an African-American male get into an argument with a white female. At some point, the African-American male did push the white female. Shortly thereafter, Darren Talenton walked between the two. It appeared that he was trying to break up the situation. Darren Talenton and the African-American male had some words. Then Darren Talenton left the store. The African-American male followed him out of the store.
So it was it appears it was a verbal argument, and then it got physical?
That's correct. It appeared to be verbal, and then at some point it got physical when he pushed her.
And can you tell us, just so we can recognize from the video, who's who? If you can just tell us who's who in the video.
Absolutely. Darren Tallington is wearing a blue shirt with a white collar. The white female, she had on all black. The African-American male, he had on a white T-shirt, and then he appeared to have on a vest, a black vest.
And these were all customers in the store at the time?
That's correct. Everyone was a customer at the time, correct.
All right. And then after the argument, it goes outside, or
right.
What happens after
the argument, again, Darren Tallington left the store. The African-American male followed him out of the store. Outside the store, there was a fight between Darren Tallington and the African-American male.
All right. And we're looking for the public's help in trying to identify some of these individuals in the video. Is that correct?
Absolutely, because what happened when the fight was taking place outside the store, the people in the store was actually looking outside at the fight.
Okay. So there were we know there based on the video, we know there were a number of witnesses.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. If anyone has any information regarding the homicide of Darren Tallington, please call this number. Write this number down, 201-915-1345. You could also send us an email at hcpotips@hcpo.org. All calls we kept confidential. Doesn't matter how small the information is. If you recognize anyone in that video or you know anything about that homicide, give us a call. Next up, we're going to be talking about a 1994 homicide where 3 people were killed on Woodward Street in Jersey City. Okay, we're here at what was 313 Woodward Street in Jersey City. I'm here with Captain Kieth Stith. Kieth, let's go back a little over 20 years ago, February 7th, 1994. Let's go over just in terms of, in cold case, things change, people change, and as we could see, even the location has changed, the setting here has changed. But let's go back 20 years ago. What happened that day on February 7th, 1994?
What happened, the victim's boyfriend came home from work around 5 p.m. He used his key to open the apartment. Once he opened the apartment, he saw Barbara Waterman, his girlfriend, and Felicia Council, his sister, dead. He exited the apartment, then he went next door to get help from a neighbor. He told the neighbor to call 911. He then re-entered the apartment, and he noticed that the bathroom door was closed. Once he opened the bathroom door, he realized that Bianca Wilson was head first into the toilet.
All right, so when he made that entry, there were 3 victims in this case?
That's correct.
All right, and they ranged from ages from 28, there was a 28-year-old, that was the adult?
That's correct. Barbara Waterman was 28, Felicia Council was 14, and Bianca Wilson was 4.
There was a 4-year-old too?
That's correct.
All right, so what do we know from that day? Once the police responded, what do we know thereafter?
Well, one thing we noticed that there was no forced entry. Whoever let the suspect inside the apartment knew the suspect because there was no forced entry at all.
Okay. And the homicide unit, then at the time from the prosecutor's office, they responded to that location as well. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, and we're involved in the investigation?
Yes, we are.
Okay. And since that time, Kieth, how many tips have we received?
Unfortunately, we only received 1 tip. At that time, there was a $10,000 reward, and only 1 person actually provided us with a tip.
Okay. So going back, when you said it was the live-in boyfriend?
Correct.
All right. When the live-in boyfriend came in, he finds this. Did he call the police?
Actually, the neighbor, next door neighbor, called the police.
The neighbor called the police. They responded, and this was all in the complex.
Yes.
Okay. Now, at that time, again, what we just talked about a little while ago is, with cold cases, people move, settings change, and this is exactly one of those challenges that we have in a cold case where what was the original structure of the building, what used to be known as
Lafayette Gardens.
No longer that actual complex no longer exists.
No longer exists.
Okay, and it's different now.
That's correct.
Okay, and that was a multi-floor housing unit.
That's correct. It was several 4-story brick buildings. As you can see now, it's an empty lot, but 313 Woodward stood on that lot, and behind the building, it was a parking lot.
Captain, before you talked about there was no forced entry. That much we know from the crime scene. But talk about that as far as a homicide investigator. What does that tell us, or what does that tell you when there's no forced entry in terms of leads or aspects of the case?
As it relates to this case, the individuals in the apartment, they must have known who the suspect was because they actually let him in. There was no indication of a forced entry or the suspect had a key to get into the apartment.
So there was no broken windows, there was no damage to the door, anything like that?
That's correct.
Captain, let's talk about some of the witnesses and putting this in the timeline, because when you're a homicide investigator, everything works off a timeline.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about that. What is the timeline? What do we know from witnesses about what, leading up to or during, anything regarding that?
Over the course of the investigation, we did have witnesses come down to the homicide unit. Witnesses told us the day prior to the homicide, the victim's boyfriend and the suspect got into an argument. They had a dispute over something what homicide don't know at this moment.
All right, Captain, before you had talked about some witness information that you received. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. One of the witnesses overheard the victim inside the apartment say something about a kid.
All right, and so that tells you as an investigator that witness knew that there were small children inside of that apartment at that time.
Absolutely.
And in this case, we had a 14-year-old and a 4-year-old.
That's correct.
Now, as a homicide investigator, does that make it more difficult in terms of for the investigators? Tell us a little bit about that.
All homicides that involve kids is very difficult to investigate. 20 years ago, these homes weren't here. Now they have beautiful townhomes.
So this area has transformed.
Big time. Yes, it did.
If anyone has any information regarding that 1994 homicide on Woodward Street, which used to be known as the Lafayette Gardens, ask you to call that number, 201-915-1345. You can also email us at hcpotips@hcpo.org. All calls will be kept confidential. Doesn't matter how small the information is. If you know anything about that, one quick note. We showed you a reward that was in play at the time. That reward is no longer active. We only show that for historical purposes. I want to thank Captain Stith for coming on the show and featuring some of these cases that we have. If anyone out there knows anything or has any information in any of the cases that we featured today, we're asking you to please contact the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office Homicide Unit. Our telephone number is 201-915-1345. You can also reach us by email. The email address is hcpotips@hcpo.org. All calls will be kept confidential, so if you don't want to give your name, that's fine. Just give us a call. If you know anything about any of these cases, please give us a call. Maybe it's a small piece of information that you know, or you witnessed something, or you know someone that knows something, that's fine. Give us a call. No information is too small. No information will be refused. You never know what that information can lead to in terms of us and assisting us in resolving some of these cases, bringing closure to some of the families. All right? So I want to thank everybody. Until next time.